Thank you, youth. And now I have a request from the floor. Grenada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Grenada aligns itself with the statement of the Maldives on behalf of AOSIS. I would like to thank you, Mr. President, and your team for the hard work and for successfully bringing COP24 to a close. I recognize the challenges that the presidency faced in squaring this circle and the need to have the wisdom of Solomon and to have the stomach of a lion to achieve a successful outcome. The question is, though, how do we define success? I wish to share with you some reflections on the process we have gone through and the results that we now have. The first reflection is that what we have adopted here today is a package with many elements. Our level of satisfaction with the individual elements of the package varies, and we see the overall package as a bare minimum that we could have hoped for. We would like to have seen a stronger package, one that addressed the urgency of the challenge that we face, one that addressed the existentialist challenge of our islands, one that will provide hope for the millions of vulnerable people who are looking to us for solutions. Mr. President, does our package deliver these? My second reflection is on the fight that we've had to undertake. We've had to fight very hard to achieve these minimum elements. Mr. President, we should not have had to fight so hard. There should not have been so much resistance to the broader calls for action and ambition based on the findings of the IPCC special report on 1.5 degrees C. This should not have been contentious or controversial. Is this consistent with the courage that we needed to show in response to the multiple warnings from the scientific community? Thirdly, we heard many loud calls from the Talanoa dialogue, and to have these linked to calls for greater action and ambition. Have these calls been reflected, truly reflected? Have we lived up to the expectations of all the people around the world who participated in the Talanoa dialogue? Mr. President, the answers to all of the above questions reflect a disconnect between the urgent and critical needs of vulnerable states and vulnerable people everywhere, on the one hand, and the priorities that some of our partners focused on in this process on the other hand. This is not in keeping with our moral responsibilities, and we're disappointed that we are where we are. We still have a lot of work to do, but you can be assured we will continue to fight the good fight. We have no choice, Mr. President, for whilst others procrastinate over these matters as though this is an academic exercise, what we are speaking about here is our basic survival. In this context, I want to also reflect on the replenishment process for the Green Climate Fund. We are encouraged by the initial response to the call for replenishment of the GCF, and we have also been encouraged by the support for the Adaptation Fund and the LDC Fund. However, the true success for the GCF replenishment will be measured in the scale of the pledges and the actual conversion of these pledges into actionable resources that target the most vulnerable. I want to underscore to the big countries, as naive and as simplistic as this may sound, that when you fight over words and engage in backroom politics, it is the lives of our people and the futures of our nations that are under threat. It is time to put aside these games and consider our collective position as a global family where no one and no island is to be left behind. Once again, please forgive my naivety in this regard. So in closing, Mr. President, I go back to my opening question. Is this a successful outcome? Mr. President, I thank you.